God. There we go. All right. So hello, everyone. Hello, everyone and everywhere. Um, so this is like the first half of what I'm doing. I'm going to read perspective. When I thought about that theme, I thought, how many of my poems aren't perspective? They all are almost. So although this talks about Saudi Arabia, it applies to the general global situation where statistical facts show that the leading cause of death for women between ages 18 and 30 is domestic violence, men and lovers and husbands and stuff like that, which is sick. Here we go. This focuses on Saudi Arabia, however. Why are they killed? It's a simple question, really. And today, at this tiny moment, I direct it to the Saudi government, but as you'll soon surmise, there are others holding on to the short end of this shit stick. I ask the men there, why is it okay to kill their own mothers, sisters, daughters, or lovers for phoning, texting, driving, enjoying the sun on their faces, talking with a friend? For dreaming of a life made from their choices, their choices? What does having a sense of humor, laughing beautifully, or wanting the simple things in life have to do with brutal assaults, murderous battery, rape, slavery, or an acid slap? What is it about family, honor? Why do, when we hear of their moaning, mournful imprecations, do we not call their men out? How is it we recuse ourselves, do not ride to the rescue? Is it because of their hijab? Where are the white hats? Yeah, all they want are simple things, freedom of the mind, justice for the soul, and unlimited peace in their feeling, emotional hearts. When will we reach out our hands? When will we answer our own big heart's unending call for love? Inquiring minds want to know. In supplication, I proffer these considerations, these notes for everyone I know. Amen. Okay. So let's see. Now this is a short piece, and it's written on, well, anyway, it's called Death and Ode. This cold kiss, most desirous and dizzy. The finished flesh lay still and gray, falls off the bone. The skeleton, a trophy of scars. Its mask, dark sockets stare, a wide smile, grinning, jaws locked. All right. So now this one here, this is a poem about poetry and poets, and it's a risky kind of piece. It goes for about 5.5 minutes. So this first I'll conclude, maybe depending on how the time goes with this. It's called Seekers Need Not Apply. Okay. It is said poets are inspired by the quintessence of beauty, that they purpose their lives around a quest for that theoretical bauble. And I understand, for that effort is paramount in my life, which is why I can describe myself as a poet. But when a woman friend inquired, wanting to know more about magical text, I suspected that someone yearned to be a poet. So I began my dissuasions. Ye gods, as my mom would say, don't be precipitous. Listen. When I hear people complain about their circumstances, lacks, wants, or whatever, I sometimes laugh out loud, but then apologize to make amends if I can. You see, I've sometimes can't explain myself quickly enough, and so have destroyed dates or fouled up friendships. But if they do listen, this is what I tell them. At least their kind of problem can be solved. They can find a job or change careers, find another lover, can ignore problems until time just sweeps them away, can just pack up and leave a marriage, a job, whatever, and if all else fails, can just lose themselves in drink, drugs, or if they're romantic, play with suicide. Poets aren't so lucky, I told her. We never find the ends to our means. After all, how likely is it that that great wonder, inspiration, will result in the gloriously eternal Meisterstück, my be all and end all? Then, looking her straight in the eyes, I added, while it can't be zero, there probably isn't a term small enough for an event that's never happened, but might yet still. Poets are, in this additional sense, worse off than anyone. And now for the bad news. Poetry is an individual's affair with the muse, and so it's a journey that will not quit them. I can no sooner leave off musing than I can leave off being. I'm as bound to it as I am to my soul, and poets, being their own boss, judge, jury, and executioner, hear no pleading, offer no escapes, and there is no mercy for the asking. And this does not change with time or success, such as that latter term might apply to poets, or due to their all common failings, which can't be beat either in their variety or largesse. And it doesn't change with talent or ignominiousness either. After all, who besides poets listen, much less understand just exactly what it is that poets do, or what the bleeping double HL they're talking about, all while again and again, amazingly, they proceed on no matter gravity or consequence. Now, the only good news comes in the form of a lack. Poets needn't worry about managing their business, since there isn't any, practically speaking, to speak of. I pause to let that sink in, which just gets us back to why a salt of the earth person such as you would want to be liberated as you believe I am. What could the attraction be? What benefits do you imagine will flow by exchanging the so-called ephemeral gain for a raft of temporal and existential pain? So she said, but my dear, love certainly has its mysteries. Well, I said, to that I owe. I mean, what else could I say? Still, I pressed on. I'll not advise taking up the word. I've made my choice and taken my chance. It's gotten so I can't tell which is which anymore. But my dear, my darling, I fear my dissuasions will fail and you'll persist. So you must be warned. There'll be no end to it. Make sure you know that, because there is no end to the soul's musical presentations so long as you live and breathe. Oh, but wait, as they say, that's not all. There's much, much more. You could wind up in books, read hundreds of years from now, be the subject of intense speculation from academics who, for God's sakes, are friggin' clueless, or worse yet, very dry of wit, perhaps even English. So painfully arrogant, imagine that sort of animal propounding upon you their tortured subject, whose scribbled remains must testify on their own behalf, and who must suffer a series of dissertational dissections. Imagine such a dull and shallow pan attempting to sift what is essentially God's bright gold. Yes, they may know your biography. That you, for example, traced a figure on a frosty pane which disappeared with your breath centuries ago, but not what the figure was, meant, nor what was reflected in the hazy pane, or seen through the liquid clarity of script on the night glass, not to mention how you saw through what you saw, to begin yet another communion with the infinite and eternal. Ultimately, they'll ignore that element, for its consideration beguiles even the best of us, will obfuscate before obstructing all their considerations. Truth be told, the best they might get is a sorry sally into the soundless mist of incomplete dreams, while those of them more clever may reach for what they imagine imagination to be in the hopes of extracting something of the heavenly realms, something of your attraction to it. but they will have no idea, my dear, of who you are for all their efforts. You will be beyond them, their traceries or descriptions, and be as much a puzzle to them as you are right now to yourself for all that. Imagine that, for all that. You will ever be a mystery. And so they'll make mistakes, which live on and on, while you, in turn, turn helplessly in your grave. So, I've said enough. Fly, if you will, into the airy realm, but no fate will be the wind beneath your wings. Take heart in nothing less than the all-encompassing universe, because if the inspiration of the muse is what you want, you're sure to have your way, just as she'll have hers with you. So, my dear, just be sure you want it and its entire unshakable entourage, no matter time, space, or any other dimension you care to list. Make sure you know eternity may well be yours. Thank